There's a lot of talk about food and flooding in the Midwest. And all I can say is that, there's a ton of prepper videos out there. Kansas prepper, NWA prepper. Good Lord, I knew I was going to start naming them and not want to. Pennsylvania prepper. You know the drill. Zombie farmer. High desert pioneer to some extent. He's a little bit all over the board. Good Lord. Big country. They're all out there. Squid to some extent. Bear. Anyway, I am of the opinion that most people don't know how farming works. Now, most of you might know how farming works. I'm not sure of everybody's background. But most of your farms have been corporatized. Most of your food is 20% less nutrition. The seeds are not heirloom seeds. And it's kind of a little bit like how you'll drive from Ohio to, let's say, Florida or Myrtle Beach. And when you start your drive, you stop at the little strip mall at the edge of town, and there's a Panera, there's a Starbucks, there's a, I don't know, you name it. And you get in your car and you drive for 10 hours, and you get out and you stop at a little strip mall because you're hungry. And there's a Panera, and there's a Starbucks, and there's a whatever was the scene. Nothing changes. It's all been corporatized. So you don't really feel like you're going on a trip anymore. The uniqueness of the towns have stopped. The farms are a little bit like that. And big corporations have been buying up the farms. Archer Daniels Midland, Monsanto. Monsanto's even got a shell name now. And ConAgra. There's a few others. But farming has changed radically in the last 30 years. I know a farmer who has about 650 acres of soy. And talking about this year, he just got his soybeans a week or two out because it's been so wet. They sat there through the winter into early spring. And of course that brings the price down. It didn't look too bad, but they're not great. But there's so much beyond this that can go wrong and cause a food shortage. You guys are aware of the flooding right now. But even without flooding, if it's just too wet, the yield is hurt. Not to mention the equipment. The equipment has changed. Now, you can't work on your own combines half the time. Most of the time, the combines are kind of like your iPhones in that you void the warranty if you do any of your own work. You got to wait a day or two until the tech gets there because it's all software driven. And the approved tech, not just whoever you've had work for decades, has to show up and work on the thing. And that can put you out for a couple days, which when you're dependent on the weather, that could be a problem. Other things that can impact your food aside from the weather and aside from flooding, well, once you harvest that, they go on grain trucks to your silos. But before they go to your silos, they go through the dryer. So there's a conveyor that goes through a dryer, and if the dryer ain't working 100% all the time, you get moisture stays in there and you get fungus. So that can go wrong. After that, the trucks come and the trucks take them to a granary. If the diesel stops flowing, like in May when we're going to attack Iran, I believe, if the diesel stops flowing, the trucks stop moving. Well, then they don't go to market. If the truck does get to where it's going, typically it's a train yard or it's a place on the river. We are going along the Ohio River right here. There's a bridge. And there's a couple places down here where the trucks take the grain to barges. So if the river is flooded, the barges can't go. If the barges can't go, it doesn't go to market. If there's flooding elsewhere and there's perfect weather here, maybe the barge can't get to where it needs to go and it doesn't go to market. Maybe the area is impacted by an ice storm, which is our favorite because it happens so much. So there's a lot that can impact it, not to mention the economics and how the Chinese set prices or keep prices high or low, or how the U.S. government sets prices and how people take those contracts ahead of before their crop is even in the field. There's a lot more than simply, oh, the silo flooded, so the food prices are going up. Any one of those things, diesel prices, diesel scarcity, late to market, wet winter, cool spring, all of that can impact your food prices. I will say the one thing that everybody has been spewing that is needed is stock up on food, because it's coming. And I don't know what's coming exactly. Like I said, I'm pretty certain that there's an economic crash at some point in the near future, simply because of past talks and the home loans they're given. There's a housing bubble like crazy. It's being propped up. But whether it's an economic crash, whether it's an EMP because Trump signed some sort of executive order, whether it's a war, whether it's this or that, they all have one thing in common. Food is needed. You don't want to be hungry. And in all those instances, you could go hungry if you're not ready. So look at other channels. Get out there, see what they're doing, see how to prep it, and make sure you're squared away. Now, being squared away and eating while everybody else is hungry and defending that, or not coming off like you're looking hungry, or going and getting in the bread line because everybody else is and you want to gray man it, that's hours worth of discussion. But you can't have those problems until you have the food in place to begin with. And believe me, while you don't want those problems mean at least you prepared. So read up on the food storage. Go get it done.